and welcome back to Tea Book Club. We're an international group of tea readers who join up once a month to meet and discuss our reads. We read a book over a 2-month period, so the first month we have a social meetup online, and the second month we meet to discuss the book that we're reading. Our current read for June and July this year is the third issue of 80 Degrees magazine. A little bit different because it's a magazine, but it's so beautifully produced, and there's some fantastic stories in there, and the photography is amazing that I thought it would be a nice change. Every week I do a 5-minute reading, and I read a little excerpt from our current read. So I'm going to jump in with a little bit of one of the articles in this issue. If you would like to join us to discuss or share thoughts, then you can find links to the website TeaBookClub.org or Instagram Join TeaBookClub, and those are all below. So, to the 5-minute reading. I'm going to jump in at page 28. This is in an article called A Picnic Indoors, Tea Habits in Europe, written by Todd Pavel and the illustrations by Maria João Arnaud. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm just jumping into it a little bit where they're looking at tea in Europe. Tea sprouts in Europe. The promise of trade motivated Europeans to start growing tea in the 19th century. Success in the endeavour varied, however. Russian officials promoted tea growing campaigns around the Black Sea, including in regions that are today part of independent Georgia and Azerbaijan. Tea experts from China were consulted. Soon the Georgian crop would prove so tasty that it won accolades in the 1899 World Expo in Paris. It became the preferred drink of Imperial Russia's aristocracy, and then the region's most consumed tea during the Soviet rule. And while large-scale cultivation decreased substantially following post-independence upheaval from 1991, a recent renaissance of tea culture is now fueling domestic production of more than 3,000 tons of leaves each year. The Ottoman campaign proved less successful. Efforts to grow tea along the Sea of Marmara's eastern coast failed miserably in the late 1880s due to the unsuitable climate. It was only after the Ottomans' collapse following World War I that Turkish officials promoted tea cultivation with marginally more success. Trade barriers that accompanied the start and spread of World War II would finally create the space in which domestic tea production along the Black Sea's southern shores could thrive. Today, Turkey's tea plantations produce more than 200,000 tons per annum. Further west, the threat of economic ruin promoted large-scale tea cultivation in the Portuguese-controlled Azores. Located some 1,500 kilometres to the west of Lisbon, the archipelago had relied heavily on its citrus crop for trade until imported pests destroyed it in the 1860s. Local farmers moved quickly to introduce wholesale tea cultivation. They recruited Lao Pan, a Chinese tea master from Macau, and many others to come to the islands and teach them how to best grow and harvest tea. São Miguel had more than 40 high-yielding tea plantations within just a few decades, and the Goriana plantation, which was founded in 1883 and stretches across 33 acres, remains Western Europe's most productive. It currently yields more than 30 tons of tea annually. That constitutes 1/5 of the tea cultivated in Portugal as a whole each year. Small batches of tea were being grown contemporaneously in England's southwest. But despite the fact that British tea drinkers are among the world's most ardent, domestically produced tea would not appear in bulk until 2005. Today, plantations in Cornwall and the Scottish Highlands provide much of the UK's locally sourced leaves. European countries such as Germany and Poland frequently appear in annual reports of the world's largest exporters of tea, but the vast majority of those exports are sourced not from domestic plantations but instead from producers in third countries. Tea culture today. Tea production along Europe's periphery has boosted regional tea drinking cultures, and while differences in how it is brewed and enjoyed are common, tea's role from expressing hospitality to enjoying a good chat with friends is shared from east to west. Turkey. Drinking tea, chai, is an integral part of many Turks' daily routines. On average, in fact, each Turk drinks more than 3 kilograms of tea every year. Chai is traditionally prepared using the chai danlik. Chai danlik? I hope I pronounced that right. A 2-vessel stacked teapot. The tea leaves are placed in the upper vessel while water boils below. When the chai is served, those preferring stronger flavours can sip the darker brew poured directly from the top vessel, and those preferring something more subtle may dilute the darker brew with the boiling water below. Tea is usually poured into tulip-shaped glasses, the small size of which ensures that the tea is consumed hot. Customarily, milk is not added to one's chai, although sugar or lemon often is. Georgia. Although the Russians were the first to promote large-scale tea cultivation in Georgia, 2 local princes, Mumia V. Gurieli and Miha Eristavi, had started to grow their own tea leaves in local gardens decades before. Georgians today will therefore attribute much of their revived tea industry success to their own royalty rather than to Imperial Russian bureaucrats. And that's 5 minutes. I'll just read the last paragraph of Georgia. In many tea houses across the capital, Tbilisi, tea leaves are steeped in wine decanters to control flavour extraction. The tea is then poured into wine glasses to capture its aroma, which tends to have citrus and rather fruity notes if sourced locally. And given that Georgian-grown tea leaves tend to be sweeter than the taste of those processed in Kenya and India, neither milk nor sugar is usually added. And that's just a little excerpt as we read through this, the 3rd issue of 80 Degrees magazine for our June and July read. If this and TeaBook Club sounds interesting to you, do check out the website TeaBookClub.org or visit our Instagram, Join Tea Book Club. Those links are below.